Hey everyone, thank you for dropping into this edition of Walking the Ropes. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Blake. We have an awesome show for you today. We'll be covering the news over, I guess, the last 24-ish hours and Raw's show last night and the good and bad bits, as well as the Twitter polls.
Yes, and before we get into that, make sure if you are brand new to Walking the Ropes or you've been watching us for a while, make sure to check out our link tree for everything Walking the Ropes. That includes our social medias, links to our live Twitch podcast, which we are recording this right now through, links to everywhere we're available, and as well ways to support us like tipping and Redbubble. Speaking of Redbubble, real quick, um, you may notice if you're watching, if you've been watching us, if you look at our social media pages, we've got a bit of a new logo, new banner, stuff like that. uh Decide to spruce up, make us look a little more, I guess, professional, as you'd say.
Yeah, a
And
little cleaner.
that new logo is up on our Redbubble on a bunch of products. It looks super clean. I got to admit, I want
Yeah.
quite a few of the products myself. Um,
Oh,
so
you'll eventually see us. We'll start to take a drink and you'll just see the logo.
oh, for sure.
Eventually it'll happen.
Oh, without a
Uh,
doubt. I
but
I cannot wait for that to happen.
Yeah,
But
like, we'll have toques and stuff, I imagine,
oh, that's the plan.
this is gonna be amazing, and this logo really does I know we might be biased thinking
Tooting our own
because this is our
horn.
podcast, but, this logo is really something cool for our podcast going forward.
It makes it look a lot better,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But yeah, so you can find us in all those places and whatnot. And yeah, like, with that being said, I guess we'll move on to our regular opening bit here. News,
Yeah.
notes, stuff like that. We were just talking pre-podcast here. It has been ridiculously so slow the past 24 hours. Like, it's
Well, I mean, even the last weekend was slow, we didn't really have a whole lot of news. The major news of the week, I would say, is Bailey's engagement ending. Like,
Yeah, like, I don't know if
and
there
I
was
guess we're in a
much.
new week now too. So,
Yeah. So, my first bit here, which is my only real news, my other ones are just notes and stuff like that.
yep.
Samoa Joe had an interview and was asked about his return to the ring. And he said there is still no timetable as to when he can return. They're taking it slow. They're making sure he is absolutely 100% ready and okay to come back, but he made sure that to say he will be back in a ring. It's just a matter of when.
Good. I don't want to see a career where or a world where Samoa Joe's last match is I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what his last match was.
Like,
I just, I mean, I've loved Samoa Joe's performances for a long time. Like, I found out about him, 08, 09 TNA. I went back and watched a lot of the stuff even prior to when I started. Went back and, like, I think it's what, 2005, 2006, the triple threat with Joe, Styles, and I think it's Daniels,
that sounds right, yeah.
Christopher Daniels, and like,
Like, Joe has face paint during that, I think, right?
that was in about 09, 2010.
Oh,
Is when they did that.
okay.
That's when he aligned himself. I think he was with Taz, which was really awesome shit too, because he would walk around with a machete, and as a kid, it was like, is he going to fucking kill somebody? Seeing
Yeah, and
as
that's
the chant
yeah.
was Joe's gonna kill you, it,
Eh,
you know.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that to come back because I know with the Joe's theme, they have the Joe, Joe, Joe,
Yeah,
but
they
Joe
did
is gonna
those
kill you is
chants.
way better.
They did those chants a few times. It happened more when he was in NXT, I feel, than
Yeah,
when he was on the main roster. But the thing is, when he comes back, it's gonna be in front of fans, and you. The best part is, because we've talked about it so many times, that boom and whatnot. um the one thing you got to consider from it, like if you ever thought like crowds were dead, which there was a lot of crowds that would just be absolutely dead, not to absolute, well, no, I'm actually going to fully call out Corpus Christi, Texas. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not the only one who says it. You can go online, you can just search up WWE Corpus Christi, and some of the first results more than likely will be about how dead the crowds are for those shows.
Yeah.
And like they're not the only ones,
No,
but
but they're the ones that stick out. There's some where if like say in New York, if the show isn't exactly what they want it to be,
they just
they'll just stop paying attention.
or they hijack it completely.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
but the thing is the second we're back, being able to be there, stuff like that, there's gonna be the biggest pops in the world, because they're saving certain things. Every company is, they're saving certain things for the second they've got fans back, and there will not be pops like what they're going to
No.
receive ever again, because people are just going to be so excited to finally be back.
There are certain returns that people probably don't even realize are about to happen when the fans come back. And I say returns. A lot of them are going to be return to old gimmicks, but that is still a return in a lot of sense
Oh yeah.
because what they are doing now, I'm obviously hinting at Matt Hardy here. What they are doing now versus what that gimmick that all the fans want is totally different.
Yeah, I do not see, once we're back to proper arenas. Like, not saying Matt's current gimmick isn't working, but damn well we'll get like a week, maybe 2 weeks, a big money Matt in front of a packed crowd, and we're there's gonna be
The
like,
delete chance will be too much for them to
oh
ignore
yeah.
it.
I don't know
Like,
how they'll pull it off, but the thing is, like, let's compare it to how WWE transitioned him to the Woken gimmick. Just, he starts, kind of cracking or something, like the crowd's chanting that stuff
yeah,
at him. It's waking something up. And damn well he's back to that gimmick. He enjoyed that gimmick way too much, and you can't argue that. His YouTube revolved around it for ages. He made so much money off of the broken gimmick that
yeah,
there's no way it's like, I'm not
yeah.
going back to this.
But in a way, this is also a blessing in disguise because when it comes back, it'll feel fresh, new, and
Mm-hmm.
redone in a way that we had never realized we needed.
Exactly. So,
Like, even if it is just the same old shit, like what he did before, it'll still feel brand new because it had been so long since we had actually seen it.
yep. Oh, exactly. But yeah, so I'm sure, even if he were to get cleared though, Samoa Joe, in the next, 60 days, the only thing that I could see at all, and I mean, so we're talking only about 40 some odd days at this point, but the only thing I could see is somehow insert him into Mania somewhere. And even then, I mean, the thing is, you're still talking the possibility of 35,000 fans. Like,
Yeah.
that's still, I mean, that's more fans than we've seen in almost a year.
I wonder if they go right back to the Thunderdome after.
I know there's been discussions of it, because the thing is all the states have different rules and whatnot for the gatherings and the events.
Yeah.
So it's not like they can really start touring again. And I mean, it's kind of dangerous still to kind of put them out on their own and let them start touring again.
Yeah,
So,
which is kind of annoying, especially when you think about it, because the NHL are still touring. They have their bubbled, um, what do you call it, divisions, but other than that, they're
yeah.
still traveling around country. And I think they even just recently had at Lake Tahoe moved them a couple teams across the country. So I mean, it's not even like they're sticking to rules. So
Yeah. So, I mean,
the
it'll be
world
a
doesn't
wait and
care,
see.
is my
I,
point there.
Yeah, I know WWE talked about their live event touring schedule will be probably the second half of 2021.
Oh, they're gonna go back to like dark shows.
Yeah, like house shows, live events, shit like that. Yeah. Yeah, they wanted to resume it according to the dirt sheets. They wanted to resume it within the first few weeks after Mania.
No.
Like big no. Like
Not
uh
even in 2021. Like that, like if we can get fans back on Raw and SmackDown, then let's talk about bringing back the live events.
yeah, like and like a decent amount of fans. Like the thing is you got to
Like I'm
consider.
talking over 50%,
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly, cuz the thing is even if they were to start doing their
which
same.
WWE couldn't sell initially.
Well, yeah. But even if they were to start doing certain arenas and stuff like that again and allowing fans in at this point, if it's a
Yeah,
20,000 capacity arena, you're looking at maybe 1,500 if you're lucky, maybe 2,000
yeah.
in it if you're lucky, because the thing is those are closed arenas, and that too, the open air, the football stadiums have a bit more leniency on letting people in because A, they're bigger, and B, they're open air. That's why Daly's place. That's why AEW has had 1,000 fans in attendance
Yeah.
for
And
months now.
not to take a shot at WWE here, they have the money to book a place like Daly's
Oh,
Place.
100%.
They just won't.
No, they won't, because the thing is it's less of a presentation value to them.
I don't know. Sometimes I've thought AEW looks a lot prettier than Raw and SmackDown with the gaudy boards all over the place.
Oh, I like. We were just talking on the last podcast about the setups. I like AEW setup better myself. But the thing is I'm talking from the WWE perspective with how grand they go. They haven't run smaller venues in years. There's a
That's
reason why
fair.
certain arenas, like uh us for example, going to Budweiser Gardens in London, Ontario here, um that there's a reason they only run the live events there anymore. It's not
Yeah,
that they couldn't
yeah.
sell out TV. They sell out TV in Toronto and stuff like that, or near sellout, I should say. Pay-per-views are a sellout. Um,
They hard camera stuff for the other part.
exactly. But there's a reason they only run live events there now. It's because it's only about, I think, a 13,000 seat place.
Yeah, I mean, it's an OHL arena. Although the one thing I'll say is whenever they run it, they always close the upper deck, even with the shows when they did it. If they actually ran the whole arena, they'd probably be okay running in London.
Well, the thing is I can literally recall I went to two TV events. I went to SmackDown ECW both in 2007 and 2008, if I'm not mistaken. And both shows were packed.
Oh yeah,
And this
but
the set looked amazing. That the first one I went to was the Fist set for SmackDown, and
yeah,
then the shitty little ECW, just like the metal bars with the
yeah,
black curtain.
yeah,
It took them 45 minutes to lower a black fucking curtain, by the way. And
presentation.
and the second show that I went to was the original HD set.
Yeah, I went
Um,
to we've talked about this before. You and I were probably at the same SmackDown event, that one that you were just talking about, but we have no idea to remember because neither of us can really remember the card that.
yeah. It's on the network actually. I have both episodes of SmackDown that I was at. They are saved to my network watch list.
Are they? Okay.
Um, well,
I
did you
was
go to
on
the
hard camera side.
did you go to the Fist one or the HD set?
No, the HD set.
Okay, so you saw the title belt get struck by the Lightning then.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because Edge had won the Battle Royal in the main event to challenge Undertaker at Judgment Day for the vacated title. He was walking up the ramp, and the title belt was on like in a box, and it got hit by lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
because I was sitting there, I had went with my sister and my brother-in-law, and they were getting up and getting ready to like start leaving, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not leaving until every one of those wrestlers are in the back and we're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
uh
exactly.
yeah, because that one opened with ECW, and the other one I went to closed with ECW.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like as we were saying though, like talking about like an arena that size, they don't seem to want to run them for TV, and then let alone space wise something like Daly's Place, because they like their ramp, they like shit like that. They
Oh,
don't want to
boo
do
hoo.
that.
Vince can't swing his big ramp around the place.
See, like that's the thing. I personally don't care. Like I said, I think AEW set looks great. I like AEW set. I have no issue. WWE set, if they were to size it down and do something like that, I'd have no issue with it. But for some reason, they won't. I mean,
Vince likes to kiss with his ramp, and
pretty
so
well. Pretty well.
thanks, Doc, for that one.
Oh man. Yeah, being the elite for you. Um
With
yeah,
Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger. We can't say that. WWE owns that name. I don't know if he was just like being an ass or if he actually.
I feel like the first initial one was a slip of the tongue,
Because
and
the thing is,
then
Jim Ross still does that. Jim Ross, if you're listening, he will call him Jack Hager or Jake Swag. Like, he has fucked it up so many times, which all the love to Jim Ross, as we've said on this podcast before.
yeah.
But he's fucked it up so many times.
Well, yeah, you spend years calling somebody something. It takes a while. Like it took me a long time to master the Moxley thing to the point where Ambrose isn't a name anymore. Like,
John Moxley was pretty easy for me. The ones that I struggled with for the longest time were FTR, Cash and
oh, I
Dax.
I
I
still mess with
I
them.
I was throwing in their WWE names, their AEW names. It was
Like, I don't mess with their I don't go back to their WWE names, but I can't differentiate which one's Cash and which one's Dax. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I used to mix up their names. I'm pretty good now. I don't think I've made the mistake on the
I'm getting
podcast.
better, but there are times where I'll write Dax, I'll look, I'm like, that might be Cash.
Well, Dax is the bald one. He was
Yeah,
Scott Dawson. Yeah.
yeah.
Um
Wow, that feels weird.
Yeah. And the only reason Cash is easy is because he was Dash in
Oh,
WWE.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cash Wheeler,
Cash
Cash
Wheeler,
Harwood, Cash, no,
Cash Wheeler,
Cash Wheeler. What was his initial name? Dash
Dash Wilder,
Wilder.
Dash
They were
Wilder,
lazy with that shit.
Dash Wilder. Yeah,
Sounds
Dash.
right. I don't fucking know.
I'm going to look it up real quick so I'm not a complete and utter fucking dumbass. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. And now they
Okay.
are Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember when they
Scott
were
Dawson is nothing like
I remember when they were
Harwood.
called the Mechanics. That's right.
Wasn't Alexa Bliss their valet at one point?
I don't I don't think.
No, she was just with Dawson. She had an initial run valeting for just Dawson
Okay.
when he was just the mechanic before they paired them together.
Interesting.
Because I can really it's vague, but I can vividly remember her standing over his shoulder, like not over his shoulder, with her hand on his shoulder. Because obviously it's Alexa Bliss. Like,
Vince
it
McMahon
can't be
has a
over.
dislike for southern accents. Cool. Okay. That's
Doesn't he
something new.
have one? Oh no,
Vince,
he has a
no.
New York
Yeah,
accent. It's
but
difficult because he was like this, like his wrestling promotion was like New York, but as well like down in the South for a little bit too. So it's
yeah.
like, where were you again?
But anyways, moving on with our news here. What you got? What you got?
Uh Mike Chioda was talking. I can't remember exactly what podcast it was on. But he was talking about a gift the Undertaker received from Xavier Woods recently, or maybe not recently, but at some point. I read it, but I read it kind of quickly because I was trying to make my news
Yeah,
points.
yeah, of
So,
course.
um, anyway, the part that I loved about this, what do you think Xavier Woods would give the Undertaker?
I'm not sure. That's why when you said that, I got a little concerned.
So, because the Undertaker was the judge of Wrestler's Court, Xavier Woods
A
bought him a gavel.
gavel, gavel. I do remember hearing this. This was on, I think, Talk is Jericho like 3-4 months ago.
Um, I saw he was talking about it again recently on a
Okay.
different podcast.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I
Um,
saw this quite a while ago because there was an engraving or something on it. I think.
he didn't talk about the engraving. He talked about the Undertaker's reaction to it, and apparently he popped huge for it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That's great. That's great.
I
Fucking.
love that because to me, like knowing what Wrestler's Court is, yeah, that's perfect. Because
Uh,
now you know if they've ever actually had another court in session, Taker just comes in and go, "All right, listen here."
yeah, yeah. Nobody's messing with him after that. Yeah. Geez, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
really cool.
a note that I have here. Obviously we'll talk about it here really really soon with our raw run through and that uh but we were getting vignettes for Rhea Ripley last night, her long awaited debut on the main roster, and Mick Foley put out a tweet uh telling WWE to basically in the nicest way possible not fuck this up, to
Yeah,
strap
basically
a
saying,
rocket to her back
yeah,
and let her go.
wants her to be pushed properly. Don't we all?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like, I'm
He
sorry, but I just don't have faith in WWE with their presentation of the NXT call ups. I guess we can call them that if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't like to look at it like that anymore, but
Yeah.
they don't present these people as competitors. They are jobbers.
It is absolutely nothing on the competitor. Ricochet, phenomenal. Phenomenal.
We'll talk about him later tonight
Yeah,
or
like
today.
Alistair Black. I mean there's a huge list. I can't even list off everybody that's come up from NXT over the past few years, but I just
Tommaso Ciampa had a quick run with Gargano.
him and Gargano when they were testing the waters with them, yeah, which I'm so glad they never stayed. And I know Ciampa's glad that they didn't stay either. So
Oh, I know Gargano's probably glad too.
but like it's nothing on the competitors. It is just the writing and the lack of faith from the looks of it on these you
So
know.
let's talk like let's put it into AEW perspective. Let's have Triple H just close the door on Vince and have him just take back all the NXT people and be like, this is NXT. And then open the forbidden door to AEW and be like, hey, listen, I've told Vince to fuck off. He has no say in this. Let's talk.
Yeah, I just see even that cuz like not that way there doesn't have to be any concern. Like even if they were to release the press statement and be like this is strictly between NXT and All Elite Wrestling, I'd be
Vince
like,
McMahon has
okay.
no say in this. I'm like, good.
The only thing that I want, which is where we've got to tweak the rules a little bit, the only thing that I want, which a lot of people want, I want the New Day.
Yes. No, just bring Triple H has to be like, okay, what team would you really like? I just want New Day, all three members.
Yeah. Yeah, I want New Day.
We'll trade one team, New Day, all three members.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. But I mean, we know that's never going to happen, so
What team do you think Triple H would have to offer up to get New Day if this were a real thing?
what
Grizzled
team?
young veterans?
Oh, I'm trying to think of Vince, what Vince would want.
Because they would fit
Ch-
into his
ch- ch-
style
ch-
for sure.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
But I could see him pushing him more so than say MSK.
Yes, yes. I do agree there. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of any of the bigger people. Like, I'm trying to run through the tag team division there
Like
and
maybe
stuff like
take
that.
Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, which would kind of
Uh,
suck, but
um,
or Bobby Fish and Strong. Like I hate to say it, but two we kind of would rather leave. Like as
yeah,
much as I don't say like I don't want to say any member of Undisputed Era sucks, but of the two I'd like to stay in
I'd
NXT.
like O'Reilly and Cole to stay, and I mean that's no
Yeah.
disrespect to Fish or Strong. I
Exactly.
love Bobby Fish's work. Roderick Strong's work is great, but if I had to choose, yeah. Um, I don't know. Maybe the only other thing I could see, and it's an iffy thing, but because of something that has been tossed around backstage so much over the past few years, the only thing that I could maybe see, which like I said, it's pushing it a little bit, but possibly Legato, because
Like the
WWE,
whole
yeah,
the whole
yeah,
yeah.
the three there, because WWE on and off have wanted to put together that Latin American group for a long time. You've
And it
got,
seems like this is the initial starting of
yeah,
it for
like
sure.
you've got the Mysterios, you've got the likes of like Andrade's going to be back at some point, Legato, even looking at the likes of like Lucha House Party, stuff like that. You could do something there. Now Legato, in a sense, I wouldn't put on the same level as the New Day, because I mean the New Day is a huge draw,
Right.
but
But I could see WWE wanting to say, well, okay, this is your trio that you want. I could see us doing something with Legato. Let us have them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I could see, and I mean that way, story wise, we get to keep all of the stories we like.
yep, agreed. But yeah,
Oh
so
my god, Blood and Guts, Undisputed Era versus Elite.
yes,
Like it,
yes,
not War Games, Blood and Guts.
yes,
I
yes. Yes, I do agree. I don't know what else to say about that, but I do agree.
Vince, if
Um,
you're or not Vince, Triple H, if you're listening.
yeah, do us a favor, please, please.
We already know Khan will do it. We don't have to talk any sense into him.
Oh no, not one bit. But yeah. You got any more news, notes, anything like that?
We okay. We'll talk about this a little bit on our Raw review as well, but something happened to Asuka on Raw that we probably won't talk about the spot specifically, but we'll talk about the match. So during this tag team match, Shayna Baszler goes in for a kick on Asuka because she's in the armbar, or she's giving an armbar to Jax, and she kicks out her tooth.
Yeah, like brutal.
Now, in fairness to Baszler, she noticed immediately, and you can visibly see her check up on Asuka as soon as it happened. And that is a testament to the competitors and everything. But you don't want to see anybody get hurt. And I was actually kind of confused as to why Asuka was holding her jaw when the match ended. And
I didn't
yeah, I
understand at first because like I had seen the move and I never thought anything of it. And
because it looks
then
like the run of the mill kick of an armbar to get them off. Like
exactly,
happens all the time.
yeah, and then I hopped on Twitter afterwards and I was like, "Oh, oh, okay, that's why it all seemed a little awkward for a second." Like,
Yeah.
okay, got it now.
Yeah, it
So,
was just kind of odd.
yeah, that's wow. Um and to stick with talking about a segment that we'll talk about on Raw, but it goes along with it. Papa Shango was trending on Twitter after uh
Did we watch the same Raw?
after the Orton segment.
Okay.
Think about what happened in the Orton segment, and now let's go back to
Yeah.
Papa Shango, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Papa Shango was
Okay.
trending on Twitter. As we said, we will talk about this
Okay.
aforementioned Orton segment here shortly. But yeah, it was funny. It was funny. It was like it was topping like I think it was in like the top 15 worldwide or something. Papa Shango.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I must not remember that gimmick that well because I don't remember how those two would be connected.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just look up a best of Papa Shango on YouTube. You'll get
I'll
the
have
gist.
I imagine I understand what the gimmick is thinking about who Papa Shango is, but I just can't picture it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's
just
odd. Because
yeah.
I've seen a lot of him. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah. But I found that interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I'll have to take a dive into that
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah, they did some crazy shit with Shango in the 90s, man. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah, you got any more? I know one that you have.
I was gonna say, I think is that your last one as
That is
well?
my last one as well.
Well, if you want to take it, I'll let you take it. Because
Um okay, just a short story, and as you said, trying to get some news points in that. I didn't read the absolute full thing. But the basically the gist of the story, Moxley was talking about uh basically talking about like how crazy his life is and that, and getting to travel and like the people he's around all day. He mentioned in the story about like Jim Ross calling his matches every week, and like you think about it and you're like, "Oh yeah," but then you remember like that's Jim fucking Ross.
yeah, like
Like walking
some of these AEW guys probably are thinking that too.
Yeah,
Like,
like walking around seeing Sting backstage. Like these are guys that these guys grew up watching. These guys grew up fans of. And
yeah,
you get to walk around backstage and you're coworkers with them and shit like
you
that.
can like pick their brain and be like, hey, so what could I do better here?
Yeah,
Like, if
exactly.
you don't ask that question, you're a moron.
Exactly. Exactly. You are never too good to improve ever.
I bet Cena still went up to The Rock after their first match together and it's like, so if we were to do this again, what could I do better?
Yep. Easily.
Like,
Easily.
it and it probably went the same with The Rock too because of the respect for each other.
Yeah, if you don't do that no matter your level, you need to get your head on straight. It
There
doesn't
you
matter
can never
where you
not
are.
learn something.
Does not matter where you are. If
Yeah.
you're being offered, that was like Lance Storm offering those breakdowns and that, and Jericho putting out and being like, everybody from Dark to Independence to the main event, do this. And it was like, yes, I agree.
Oh yeah.
Like
No,
I'm
it
sure Jericho probably would call Storm up. I mean, they're friends. So, but call Storm up and be like, "Yo, dude, did you watch the match last night? What did you think?" And
yeah,
let
you just
Storm be
gotta
like, "Here, here, here."
well, Storm called him after the first lion salt that Jericho messed up
That
and goes,
botch.
"Bro, what was that?"
Yeah. Oh, more than likely. Well, they're supposed to
Like,
have their last matches against each other, which is cool. If you didn't know that, they made a deal when they started wrestling together. I believe their first matches each were against each other, and they made a deal that their last matches would be against each other. Yeah.
cool,
If you
but
didn't know that.
sad. I don't want to see either career end.
I know, but still, hey, the thing is, that's a way to go out though, because I'm sure Lance Storm can still go at a great level. We know Jericho can go at a great level. So,
But it's like when they're at like Taker's age, right?
well, I mean, they're definitely up there and close.
But I'm meaning like we're not pulling that trigger for any time soon.
Not for probably another 5, 6 years.
That still seems too close.
They can't wrestle until they're Terry Funks. Well, maybe they can, but
It's Jericho. You try telling Jericho he can't do something, he'll put
oh,
his middle finger up and do it.
I will not tell Jericho he can't do something. I don't know. Anyways, back to the story though. Moxley was talking about this, and he started telling a story about hanging out with Ric Flair in an airport, and they were doing they
Drinking
were
Bloody Marys.
yeah double
Double Bloody Marys at 2:30 in the morning.
2:30 in the morning, and I didn't actually see what caused the next part of this story. Did
I
you?
didn't. either. All I
All
know is, yeah.
Ric Flair somehow got himself arrested.
I imagine it's like disorderly.
More than like, well, I mean, come on, Flair drinking, we've all seen it. I mean, do we remember
We've
why him?
heard,
Do we remember how why him and JR got fired? For Christ's sakes, it was because they were
yeah.
both drunk on a SummerSlam panel. I watched that whole panel. It was rough.
I can think of a certain airplane ride where alcohol might not have been involved, but testosterone was.
Yep. But yeah, apparently Flair got himself arrested, and as they are going through the airport, he is yelling and blaming John for getting him arrested.
Yeah, and he's like, "Okay, Rick, I wasn't there twisting your arm, ordering the double Bloody Marys."
But
Like,
you know what? Sure, it's my fault you got arrested.
yeah, I could just imagine him walking with his, because picturing how he walked around in the airports, he had like a Harley Davidson jacket on and a toque and sunglasses almost all the time. So he's just walking with Rick behind him, going off, and I can just see him just shake his head, like, "You
Come
motherfucker!"
on,
Like,
Rick. Come on.
I look up to you, and I got to hear this for the next 2 hours.
You
Like,
know they got to fucking like Raw or whatever the next day, and Rick is all fucking hungover, and John's like, "How you doing?"
yeah, John's just fine. Like, "What's up, Rick?" And
He's
Rick's
got the
just like,
biggest shit-eating grin on his face. Oh
that
god,
was a regular night for Moxley.
pretty well. But well, if that's all for our news and notes, we'll move on here to the results of Monday Night Raw.
Let's see if we
Um,
can get as much time as they spent writing this show.
well, in that case, thank you for tuning into the show.
Well, they spent about 5 minutes.
Yeah, pretty well. Um, but we start off the show, John Morrison in the ring, Miz TV setup, and he welcomes the new WWE champion, The Miz. And Miz
And I
gets
mean, we did talk about it quickly just before you go on there. His side plates. I'm a stickler for side plates, so I'm gonna point it out. WWE, he has been around for a long time with the side plates. You're telling me you haven't had a chance to design side plates for him?
but wait, Blake, wait. They're not just the normal side plates.
Oh yeah.
They're
They're upside
upside
down.
down. They're upside down to be in. Does he wear the belt? And when he wears the belt around his waist, does he wear it out upside down?
But that would mean the plates would have to be the right side up because otherwise they're the
They'll
right
just
side up.
switch him out every time. Don't worry about it.
Like, but like seriously, we've had people win the belt and the next night they have their plates. Like,
Yes.
why hasn't he? We know why,
I was gonna
because
say why. Well, we'll get into that here in just a second.
to quote Simon Miller, slap your head, here's why.
Yeah. Um, and a note that I have here: Miz got a fuck ton of pyro.
Oh yeah. And
He
I
got
was sitting there, I was
so
like,
much
that's
pyro.
amazing.
He got so much, and then getting in the ring, he got more. I'm like, holy hell.
Oh yeah. And like he goes on to talk about like how people thought he would be fired in his first week of WWE and whatever.
Which
And
was a
now he's
legitimate thing at that point.
it was. I mean, I can agree to that too from what I remember seeing him on TV the initial time. The Divas search is call 552. Yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
good job.
And he calls himself the Babe Ruth of WWE, and I'm calling it now John Cena versus the Miz Mania.
This year?
Sure.
What the fuck? Okay. Sure, I
Oh,
thought I was making bold predictions,
yeah.
but
They
sure.
can't call that. That's Cena's thing. We've known that since Cena came out in the Babe Ruth jersey against Elias. Like, that has been his thing for years. Like,
Well,
I don't see that being a sly comment in just passing. That was definitely shot at John Cena because of their history.
more than likely. And he mentions the fact of being a double Grand Slam champ, and whatnot, and as
They're
well
not more of those.
a
I
double. I don't
like
know.
Jeff Hardy isn't.
Uh, as for the
Got both
modern,
world. He's got 2 world titles at the very least.
he's got a WWE and he's got a world.
He's got
Yeah.
2 WWEs alone.
Where's the second one?
Doesn't he? Or is it 2 worlds? He has
It's
he has
worlds.
3. He has 3 world title reigns. I know that much.
He's got only one WWE championship reign.
Sorry, I confused. Sorry, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
two
no
world
worries.
titles.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that
The only
is.
belt I can think of is the US, but he's won it for sure. Did he win it before?
I can't say I ever have that belt on Hardy minus his most recent run.
Maybe that's the only, but like he's had the European title, which
Uh,
considers him a different kind of Grand Slam champion.
the thing is, the Grand Slam generally with WWE
Yeah,
is the current generation of titles.
right. But there's another reference for when they've won like all the world titles or all major titles in a bunch of promotions or something. It's like Triple Crown champion or something like that.
Okay, so for the Grand Slam, the revised format, you need one of the world titles, one of the current tag titles, and then both the Intercontinental and United States. Uh
So I
Jeff
guess yeah.
Jeff Hardy. Okay. So the reason Jeff Hardy is not is because the World Heavyweight Championship is not the modern world title. It is WWE or Universal. WWE, WWF, because Kurt Angle is still considered a modern day Grand Slam because he won the WWF Championship.
But the WWE World Championship came together and became the same belt. Do their histories not merge?
No, because that is the original format. The original format was WWE, WWF World
That's
Title.
just lazy. That's just lazy.
Because the thing is the tag team titles are even different.
So he does have 2 US titles.
Potentially, I know I only see they only have the first one listed here. Uh, I will check.
But the WCW history would exist for that too, wouldn't it? And he in WCW?
He was not. I
No.
know they won him and Matt won the WCW tag titles when they came over. Jeff is only a one-time US title holder.
Okay, that's fair. But it to me, this is still really lazy and shoehorning in something for the Miz. But
Yeah, oh yeah, I agree. But the thing is, it's just interesting to know. And like I said, the tag team titles, it's either the SmackDown tag team titles or the opposite side of this. This is
is the
where,
WWE/Raw, right?
yes,
Yeah,
not the world tag team
yeah.
titles.
You would think they would have merged the SmackDown one with the World Tag Title history, just so that way it existed somewhere. But
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, the world tag team titles were around for a really, really long time. Because the thing is,
they were around before the WWE Tag Team titles,
um, sitting
weren't they?
here.
If I'm trying, wait, no, the red ones were the World Tag Team titles, right?
So wait, Jeff is a. Okay, so Miz, from what I'm seeing, Miz is the only modern day Grand Slam. Jeff is a double Grand Slam because the original format was either the WWF WWE World Title, one of the tag team titles, whether that be the World Tag Team, whatever they're doing, the secondary championship, which at the time was the Intercontinental, and then either one of the tertiary championships, which was either the European or Hardcore. So Jeff is a double Grand Slam winner. He
That
is
was the
just
first name that came to my head too when Miz said that.
because I'm looking here. Yeah, he is. I wanna see what this note is on Jeff. Uh
Sorry to hang so long on this. This is just something that's really interesting.
Yeah. So Jeff is a double, but the reason Miz is getting away with this is because Miz is the only modern day two-time Grand Slam.
All right, WWE, you're just really lazy.
So, but so that's the only reason they're gonna get away with that, I guess. Just
It's just like the Universal title isn't the world
oh
title,
my
but it
god,
is.
oh my god. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. Anyways,
Oh, literally.
but yeah. So, anyways, Miz is stating about being the double Grand Slam, the only one, which, as we know, only modern day. I don't know if he said modern day. He might have, and I might have missed
I,
it, but I don't
I
think he
didn't hear him
did.
preface it. I heard him say only two-time Grand Slam
Yeah.
champion.
But anyways, and
Gotta be specific, Miz.
he starts running down the list of people he's better than, blah blah blah. And I noticed Lashley's name came up, and I was like, oh, well, here we go. And sure enough, here comes Bobby Lashley and MVP.
Classic WWE. Speak his name, he shall appear.
MVP still selling that knee, by the way.
Is he though? Because whenever the crutch comes out from under him, he stands on it just fine.
Yes. Yes. And not to like really turn off here, because I want to get through these results here. We always
For sure.
go
Yep.
off on a rant. But
We do.
speaking of MVP selling this injury, I sent you an article last night regarding Impact Wrestling's most recent pay-per-view, No Surrender, the main event. Tommy Dreamer in the match seemingly had dislocated his finger, and we had been talking. We weren't sure whether or not it was a legitimate injury. It could have been, but we weren't sure due to the fact of Rich Swann targeting it. Tommy Dreamer has gone on record now in an interview stating he did, in fact, dislocate his finger during that match.
I thought there was no way that was fake.
Like, it looked really real, but I was like, the thing is, we're talking Tommy Dreamer. You know, maybe he's just selling it really well. I mean, the
And
amount
maybe
of
he's double
damage.
jointed.
I was going to
Like,
say the amount of damage he's had to his hands, double jointed. He could have done something like that, but apparently he actually dislocated his fucking finger.
well,
So,
and thinking about it too, the ref did toss up the X quickly
well,
at one
that's just
point.
it. When the ref tossed up the X, when I was sitting there watching it, I'm going, they don't tend to do that uh
Anywhere but WWE.
like unless it's a serious situation. They have thrown up the X before to play into storyline, which I very much dislike. I do not like
I do
when they
too.
do that because that worries me. And so that's why even him throwing up the X, I was so that's why I hate that they've done that in the past, because now when they throw up the X, I'm like, are
Is
we
this
talking
real?
an actual injury that we need to be concerned about?
Yeah. And I mean, a dislocated finger is not a dislocated shoulder, but it's
Oh,
still something
exactly.
to worry about.
And I
Like,
mean, in the sense of pro wrestling, I mean, dislocated finger can make the difference in matches some days.
he's lucky. Sorry, he's lucky it was his pinky, not like
Yes,
his pointer or middle finger or something where he would actually have to lead with. He can keep his pinky out of the shot most of the time.
exactly. But yeah, I just figured when we were just talking about MVP there, I figured we should talk about that real quick.
Now you made me
Um,
just think about that again, so thanks.
but Lashley comes out and he talks about the shady business deal that was made. And Miz owes him his title match.
Exactly what we thought it was.
And this I thought was really, really good storytelling in this sense. Lashley tells him he has an hour to come to his senses. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's fair. The one thing I didn't like is WWE's immediate counter.
See, I did, because it was like, I liked the reminder of like, Miz only has this long. I didn't like how the segment at the end of it played out, but uh, and I think they showed the timer a little too much, but
That's
like,
what I mean.
if they would have
Like
showed
when
it like twice, maybe, I'm like, that would have been really cool.
they showed it like 5 times in a
Yeah,
match.
I know.
Like
I know. I did
that's
like the
why I was getting
concept.
annoyed.
Yeah,
That's
I
why, yeah, no. Yeah, sorry. I guess I'll preface that. I liked the idea that they were showing a timer, but they
Yeah.
showed it every 5 minutes.
Yeah. We know Miz has this
We
ultimatum
understand the
thing.
passions of time.
Like I like that they're showing it to remind us like Miz, because the thing is, it is a big decision,
It
right?
is
This is for
very
the world
much.
title and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we get a we get a segment backstage with Riddle and Lucha House Party. I laughed at this.
He got his first W in Warzone, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Their Lucha House Party is congratulating him on his win, and he thinks they're talking. He thinks they're talking about Warzone. And then he tells them he has named the eagle on the belt. I think it was Travis.
He named his Eagle dude Travis, and I don't know why I now look at that belt and I call it Travis, and I'm starting to like it, and I hate it.
Oh, I still don't like it.
I don't like the design, but I like the fact that it has a name now that I'm not calling it the US title.
And then they remind him like he's got a matchup next, and like it's on the other side of the field, and he's like, "Don't worry, bros, I got this." And he pulls out his fucking like razor scooter and just takes off. I'm like, what the fuck is this show?
He calls it his stallion, and he goes dip, 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 as he scooters off. Like,
It was funny. I don't care.
you made a comment to me saying Riddle looks like, I can't even remember what you had said now.
The way he was acting in that segment is exactly like I am when I am way too tired and get stoned.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
things just kind of happen, and you look back on it and you piss yourself laughing, and that is exactly me. Like, when I get stoned on a normal day, I'm fine, but if I am dead tired and I'm like, sure, why the fuck not, it's
Yeah.
something else.
Well, and I mean, if you looked at Riddle's eyelids, I guess, he was like, I
He always kind of seems like that though.
but they were excessive tonight. Because
Oh.
okay, I do smoke quite a decent amount. We live in Canada; it's fully
Yeah,
illegal.
fully
Uh,
fully legal. I think you just said illegal. Just
did I meant to
yes,
say legal, but
yes.
whatever.
It's legal.
Fully legal in Canada, so it's not like we're doing anything wrong. Uh, like seeing that, like when I saw him last week versus this week, I'm like, you look significantly more into it than you did last week.
Yeah. The only thing is there's a I don't think they would allow him to go
No,
out.
no,
So
for sure. No, they have
what
a
he what
policy. I think it's 24 hours.
yeah. I was gonna because it's the same thing with drinking.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to drink 24 hours prior to a performance, even though a lot of the
Yeah.
guys do.
Yeah, but the same thing would happen with THC. Like,
Exactly.
being honest, like they'll probably smoke just before they come to the event at 8 in the morning, and by
Oh
the
yeah.
time they're on the show, there's nothing in their system.
Oh exactly. Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. But
so
but we get Riddle versus John Morrison next. Um and it's
and like in the match, we just get told we're getting a tag match between Oscar, Charlotte, and Jackson Baszler, which I
yeah, it
was like,
was really
I
just kind of odd, but the match is really solid. The two
yes,
guys did really good. I would have liked for more time for the match.
I there's a lot of points where I would like a lot more time on matches in this show.
Yeah, none of them were long, and it pissed me off. But
Do we have, like, you can go on Wiki, right, and see how long they were?
I don't know if you can for the Raws. They do them
Oh,
for the pay-per-views, but I don't know if you can see match times in that for Raws.
I want to see if I can't find that because I don't think there was one longer than 10 minutes.
Oh, guaranteed there wasn't. But I don't know if you've got any notes on this match that you want to mention.
No, I'm good.
But yeah, so Riddle picks up the win over John Morrison with the Bro Derek, which apparently I had never heard of this prior to the pay-per-view Sunday, and now he must have been using this a lot, and I just never noticed.
Yeah, but it seems like they're moving him away from floating bro as his finish to bro Derek as his finish.
Well,
Like he's
potentially.
still doing floating bro, but
It
the
doesn't seem to
finish
be the
has come
finish.
off of Derek now.
Yeah.
So
So, and then we get the vignette as we mentioned prior to for Rhea Ripley, which I'm hella excited.
yeah.
I'm
But
hella.
they are doing the Seth Rollins thing where it's they
Oh my
show it a
god, they
little too much.
they aired it like 3 fucking times, and I was like,
And
we
like
get it.
I was fine with that because it does like I remember SmackDown days like Kazar or Kazarni. They showed that like
Oh
five
god.
times a show, and it felt
Um,
funny, but like if they like they need to make sure they don't over push her.
MVP got that treatment. Alberto Del Rio got that treatment. Like it's not like it's
Yeah.
only recently. It is just it kind of like the first time you see it, you're like, oh, sweet Rhea Ripley. Then the second time
Yeah.
you're like, okay, and then by the third time in the show, you're like, unless she's fucking debuting tonight, just stop showing me.
That's just it, right? Like, and I can remember R-Truth had about 3 weeks of build-up on SmackDown before his actual debut.
Yeah. So
Like,
I don't know.
then we get Bad Bunny on SNL.
Yeah, yeah, we get the highlights of him, which I mean, obviously he's the champ. We're gonna get that.
I just don't like how everybody was tweeting that he had the WWE Championship.
Oh, come on!
He did not have the WWE Championship. He had the fucking 24/7 Championship.
It's a world title. Um,
Oh, you better fucking take that back.
I said it on yesterday's podcast. I'm saying it today. It's a world title. Um,
Oh,
but
just
we
peaceful thoughts.
we get Damian Priest and Bad Bunny backstage and that, and R-Truth is off to the side with a referee and like hugs the referee and says he's gonna be, I don't even remember what he said, that he's gonna be joining their team for some game or something this weekend. Um, I don't even
Oh,
remember.
yeah, no, I can't remember
I
now,
can't
but
remember
like
exactly.
all I remember is when Truth comes up, he's just like, "Oh no, I loved this guy in the movie with the space guys playing basketball or whatever," and it took me a second to realize what he was talking about, and then it clicked. I was like, "Oh my god, he thinks he's Bugs Bunny from Space Jam." Like obviously from other shit, but in Space Jam specifically.
Yeah,
Like
that's the one he was referencing. Yes.
so but when he said that I was and then he's like, "Oh, but I forgot my jersey and my marker." So he goes to leave. And then I can't remember why, but then Priest just kind of gets in his face.
Cause why not?
And then Truth's like, "All right, catch you later, DP," and walks out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you gotta remember, R-Truth is a multi-time world champion now. Like 60 some odd time world champion.
Okay,
Um,
I thought I was going to actually correct you and be like, "You're actually not wrong. He is a two-time NWA champion, I'm pretty sure." But
oh, come on, come on. Yeah, but then we get Miz and Adam Pearce backstage. Miz is basically complaining about this happening, and Pearce.
I like Miz's logic saying nothing was in writing because that is very much the Miz. Like,
Yeah, that's true. But when you got somebody like Bobby Lashley standing in front of you, I don't really think Bobby gives a shit whether it was in writing or not. You made a
I
deal,
really
and
don't.
you're gonna
Yeah.
fucking yeah, you're
The
gonna
the
come around to it.
Almighty.
But yeah, just and Pierce is pulling like a 50-50, like, yeah, I am on your side, but at the same time, like,
You are the champion. I'd like to see this match.
yeah, like you
Be
kind
good for
of,
the show.
yeah.
Like,
um and that's about
uh,
that.
and then we get the blurriest of blurry shots for Pinky Brewster's cast at the Thunderdome.
Oh, that was so bad. It was
Like,
so bad.
you're telling me WWE doesn't have the ability to grab those feeds and just pop them onto their screen?
But I don't understand why it was so bad, because they've done it before when they've had, I don't remember what episode it was. There was an episode of SmackDown, and they
Yeah.
had people on the Thunderdome, and they were showing them, and they were clear, they were great. And then when they showed this, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
The only way I can think of this is because they were shooting it with the hard camera all the way across and up into the upper layer, because they weren't in the lower deck of the Thunderdome. They were in the upper fucking thing because they didn't even want to show them on the fucking TV.
Yeah, that's gross.
Like, we could see Goldberg clear as day for fucking two SmackDowns, but we couldn't see the Pinky Brewster's cast that were actually promoting on your show at all.
Yep. Oh, I know what you mean. I know what
I'm
you
not even
mean.
annoyed because I don't care about this show, but I'm just annoyed that they're bad at promoting things.
Yep.
Like,
But up next, we have the New Day come out, and we're told they're facing Mason T-Bar, which is, in fact, what happens.
and the announcers don't say anything about Reckoning. They're like, it's with Ali and Slapjack.
Yeah, and then here's Reckoning with them. Kofi and Xavier, I'm like, you fucking guys, they're jumping around in the ring like, Reckoning!
Like, oh my god, it's just amazing. And if they don't give us Woods versus Reckoning at WrestleMania, I will be annoyed.
That's what they're going to build to now. I hope you know that.
Oh, they watch our show, and we've been seeing it day to day as it happens. They watch our show.
It's
They are
kind of
going to book it.
terrifying. It's kind of terrifying.
Like,
We have been saying things on this podcast like they should do this, but like it won't happen, and then they do it. It's weird.
and we're like, huh?
but but yeah. So we have the New Day, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston against Mason T-Bar, and the match just isn't great.
The match can be defined by it started and then it ended.
Yeah, like they basically have Retribution has the match won. And then Mustafa Ali is like, do it again. And then it just all falls apart. Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise on T-Bar and picks up the win. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's almost like Ali forgot that New Day is like the best tag team WWE has. And, well, arguably because of their reigns and whatever.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing there. I'm shaking my head because of the segment.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking you're like, because there are arguably better teams. But historically, the New Day is the best tag team WWE has ever had, and
I'd
he
say
just
probably
tried.
Best modern day that's there.
Yeah, that they have built by themselves.
Oh yeah.
So for Ali to take the oh no, you had the win. You did a double choke slam from two big guys. Buddy was done for 3 seconds at the very least. And you're like, no, do it again.
Yeah, like you fucked up.
And you make
yourself.
them take 5 minutes to do it. Like,
yeah, and then Ali comes in, flips out on the group like how many times? Like,
did you write down that the Retribution was going to turn on him? Because I did.
I was sitting there, I wasn't sure. I thought they were going to. But yeah, it was how many times do I have to go through this and blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh jeez, like I don't know.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, Ali yells at the members of Retribution, and the way they were all standing around him, I was like, and they turn on him.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was waiting for somebody. I thought it was gonna be Reckoning to take the shot.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he just walks off, and I'm like, okay, so Retribution isn't long for this world.
Nope.
Like, they got less time than Nexus got. Like,
yep.
And Nexus actually got a push for a significant while.
Yes, they did.
They were probably the best faction that WWE made that wasn't DX.
Pretty well. Yeah. But up next, we get Adam Pearce waiting in the ring, welcomes out Lashley.
I'm amazed he doesn't have entrance music.
Who, Adam Pearce?
Yeah, like
Please
they've had him come out so much, but they don't have entrance music for him. Teddy had music.
Yeah, and Teddy's music was bopping.
Are you telling me they couldn't find something for Adam?
Vicky didn't have entrance music until like the very end of her WWE run. She has it now in AEW.
But she would go out to Edge's music. when he would come out,
When he
they would
okay, and
almost
is Adam
they
Pure sleeping with Edge?
no, but they would never have her come out to no music is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they would. Like all the time.
I can't remember that. Unless she specifically came out screaming excuse me.
Which is what always happened.
Not all the time. 90% of the time.
99.8% of the time.
But anyway,
There was very little.
I just find it odd that with the way WWE likes to present their programming, that they haven't given him something to at the very least walk out to.
But that's like Paul Heyman, though. If Paul Heyman's not coming out with a superstar, if Paul Heyman's just coming out, he has no music.
But we know, being fans who have watched tapings, that the announcers have music.
Yeah. Yeah.
JR and Cole and
granted, JR's is just his hometown football team.
Yeah, but the thing is like Cole got music. Yes, he wrestled for a while, but he had that music before
even Lillian Garcia, the former ring announcer, if nobody's familiar with her, but granted, I think her music was from her album because she's put out like 2 or 3 music albums.
There are obviously reasons why certain music are what the music is, but I still
don't know why Cole has music.
I don't. Like, if you're gonna give people music, you got to give it to everybody or nobody. Well, not nobody, but only the wrestlers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
That's just me. I don't. It's not like it's a big important thing.
But But yeah, so Miz finally comes out. He's still in a suit and whatnot.
Lashley's not happy.
Lashley's pissed, and Miz basically talks his way into wanting a week. He wants a week to prepare.
He's got so many challengers, like John Morrison.
And then Strowman comes out for whatever fucking reason. And
why is he dressed ex-military?
I don't know one bit.
Like, at all. Like, he has military gloves, fucking everything. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, and so it's just really odd. He wants the title, and he's pissed off about Shane, and say his name and he shall appear. Here comes fucking Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, it tells Adam to tighten things up around here and tells Braun that he just can't come around going for titles because he thinks he can. And then also says that apparently the Elimination Chamber was for WWE champions only, even though when they announced it, it was for former world champions.
Yep.
But, you know, we're going to just move on.
It's because they listen to us, bitch.
Yeah, and then Braun goes, that sucks. I agree.
Yep.
Like, 100%. That is not a good idea. If you have former Universal champions, they should qualify
as world champion. Yeah, but we get told we get Bobby Lashley versus Braun Strowman later tonight. If Braun wins, the match next week is a triple threat. Easy as that.
Why couldn't it just be whoever wins faces Miz next week?
Because Lashley had a deal with Miz, so Lashley's getting his match.
I just realized if it went that way, would that meant they would have pinned Braun instead of Miz to try to keep him looking strong?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Moving on to the next match. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander versus Lucha House Party in a tornado tag match. Like, that's the first time we've had a tornado tag match on Raw since like 2004. Yeah,
even is it Todd Phillips? The announcer? Who's the Tom Phillips?
Tom Phillips.
He even's like, yeah, we haven't had a tornado tag match on Raw in years. And then they forget the rules. Because Metalik at one point goes up to the top rope and Lindsay tags him and then goes, now Lindsay's the legal man. And somebody just goes, oh, actually, it's a tornado tag. Nobody's the legal man.
I heard it. I'm like, you fucking guys, come on. MVP's on commentary during this. This is probably one of the longer matches, if I'm remembering correctly. of the show, even though it's not that long.
At about 5 minutes, yeah, it's the longest probably.
Yeah, yeah. But
Oh,
they
that's
all four of
sad.
them get a decent showing. It's a good match. And Benjamin and Alexander come out on top.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then we get a
We
match
just,
that we've already gotten. We already know the outcome. Waste of a segment, but Bad Bunny and Damian Priest come out, and we get Damian Priest versus Angel Garza. Literally nothing of importance happens during this match other than Garza getting distracted by Bad Bunny and then Priest coming around and killing him.
hits the lights.
Yeah. And then the end of the segment is ridiculous. The 24/7 title contenders come to the ring. Damian Priest takes out two, and literally, Drew Gulak is only tossed over the rope and then
Yeah.
sells for 5 minutes on the outside. I'm like, excuse me?
Yes. Well, he hasn't done anything of note since training with Daniel Bryan
He should have. He should have.
on SmackDown.
Yeah.
He
I don't
probably
know.
got traded in that superstar shakeup that I forgot happened.
Yep, more than likely. But and then we get Randy Orton. This is actually one of the better bits of the night. Randy Orton's talking about the stuff
Yeah.
going on with Alexa Bliss lately and stuff like
Surrounded
that.
by failure.
And he's coughing at points, which I thought was interesting, but I thought,
I was like, did they really have somebody just pretend to have COVID on their
well, I
show?
was like, I don't understand what's happening because like the stuff is all pre-taped. Like
Yeah,
most
right?
most of this backstage stuff, unless you see somebody right after a match, most of this stuff is pre-taped. So I'm like, really? I'm like, maybe they're
Yeah.
doing something with it. And then they show the Bliss segment from last week. We come back to Orton, and Orton like pukes out this
The
black
goo.
sludge again that Alexa had oozing from her. Now, I have a theory. The Fiend is gonna come back, but not in the way we think. He's gonna possess Orton's body for a few weeks.
I mean, my joke comment is Bliss is hiding inside of him.
Oh, jeez.
But I like how there was one point where Randy Orton's like, I'm too distracted by Alexa Bliss, and my brain went, same.
Me too. Uh, and if there's anybody that's watching that's disagreeing, you're wrong.
You
Easy
need
as
to just
that.
go to her Instagram, and I'm not even saying that to be like a creep. She is just a very attractive lady.
She is. She is.
Like, I'm not even trying to make it perverted at all. Like,
Like,
she's a very attractive person.
so, but and then our next throwaway match, Charlotte and Asuka versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Did you see them? What did you hear? What they called the move Oscar went for at the start?
I can't say I did.
The Oscapus.
I
That's what they fucking called it.
No. Can we finish this match already?
Oh my
I don't
god!
want to talk about this now. It's so bad.
I heard that. I was like, did they really just say that?
Welcome to Monday Night Raw. Literally almost nothing of importance happens here other than Charlotte's obviously not there for the most part. There's some miscommunication at one point. Asuka kind of gets hit. Nia Jax hits the leg drop and pins Asuka. So now Nia Jax has pinned both the women's champions and should get title matches
Within
against
24 hours.
But anyways, and Charlotte offers her hand to Asuka. Asuka slaps in. Charlotte then walks out, bitching at Asuka. I'm like, I'm sorry. Asuka's being upset is justified.
She, one, got her tooth knocked out. Two, lost her tag titles because of your family bullshit. Like,
you see the common denominator here?
it's you, motherfucker. Like,
But yeah. And then we get the next match, which this match should have had way more time. And it was good for
just to
what it
completely
was.
undo what Hardy did in Chamber, honestly, in my opinion.
I wouldn't go that far. It was
Well, okay, it
decent.
didn't bury him, but it made him look not as strong.
Yes, that is fair. It's Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus, by the way.
Yes.
Like it was a decent match.
Yeah,
I
it was good, but they could have favored Jeff a little more considering they let Sheamus go out to the phenomenal forearm.
yes, that is fair. But I mean, when you only give the segment 4 minutes,
Yeah, no, that's just
like
it. Like that's why I'm so annoyed is we had a 3-hour show and 2 hours of it was drama.
there is no reason on a 3 hour show we can't just have 20-minute matches.
I would love to see AEW run a 3-hour show weekly just to be like, this is how you
Like
fucking do it.
here's the best part though. Yeah, talking about AEW, sure they do have some shorter matches that don't need to be in there as
Yeah.
we've talked about. But the
Uh-huh.
thing is in 2 hours, I can pull out more wrestling most of the time, and when they have non-wrestling segments, 9 out of 10 times they work really really well.
I can't
9 out
remember
of
the
10 times.
last.
There's still
Yeah,
some that don't
for sure.
hit where they're supposed to.
Yeah, I can think of the most recent dentist whatever's office thing.
The waiting room. And see,
Yeah,
the thing is, the ones on Dark worked really well, which is why they brought
right.
it to Dynamite. And then the Dynamite one just because like I watched bits from Dark, and the waiting room was actually really decent on Dark. And so when they announced it coming to Dynamite, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "Cool." And then when it happened on Dynamite, I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah. So like we're not saying AEW is perfect, but their track record is far better. Yes, it's shorter, but it's far better.
But yeah,
Like
Sheamus wins with a brogue kick. And then we get probably the best promo of the night.
I would say this is probably the
Here,
most thought out and
yeah,
worked, not worked, but like well working promo.
yes. Charlotte and Rick are backstage, and this basically closes the storyline we
Yes.
had because we know Lacey's not going to be around for the
Yeah.
next who knows how long.
I'd say
Obviously,
year and a
9 months, and then
I'd say
however
year
long
and a
after.
half.
Yeah,
Um, Charlotte, this is exactly what we should have done the first time they
right
ever
from the
brought
get
Rick
go.
out with Charlotte. Like, Charlotte is not mad that Rick wanted to help Lacey. She's mad that he wanted to help Lacey fuck over Charlotte.
Yeah, there's no reason it had to be this way. Charlotte says she's just trying to protect the family name.
Yeah.
Like
And Flair just wants to be the nature boy.
like as we all get it. We all get it. It's Ric Flair, it's the nature boy. He's always going to be the nature boy in one
I
sense
will
or
never
another.
not look at him like that.
But the thing is there's no reason that with that being said that even if he wants to help out, it has to be done that way. He can help out any way he wants. He can help out other women all he wants. But the thing is,
Yes.
it doesn't have to revolve around back to Charlotte and mess up
Yes.
that thing. Because Rick's name is established. It's there. Charlotte's is too. But at this point, Charlotte's the one continuing the legacy of the Flair name, not
Yeah.
Rick. I'm
She is
sorry.
Rick is correct in saying that Charlotte has been the best women's wrestler for WWE almost ever. I'd say I would probably argue Fabulous Moolah and uh Mae Young
Oh
were
yeah, when you're going back that far, yeah, for sure. Even
yes.
with all the shady shit from Moolah, what she did in the ring, uh,
There
if you take
is yeah.
that, she was one of the best to ever
Yes.
step in the
Like
ring.
I was just like obviously the person behind whatever we can't
Well,
say for certain.
it's like when we talk about the other aforementioned name, like Chris Benoit,
Yes.
right? But I understand what you mean. I was just kind of making that point a
Yeah,
little
no, for
clear
sure.
there.
Like we can still look at their history and be like, look at what this person did.
Yep.
Obviously, with Moolah, there's some hearsay of what happened, what didn't, but a
There's a
lot of it
lot of
is
shit back and forth and in between, and yeah.
like so we're not saying she did this and she did this. Like it's all hearsay. What we know of Fabulous Moolah, she was fabulous.
She was absolutely amazing in the ring.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to get across here.
Exactly. And
Um,
so when we can compare Charlotte to those people successfully now without a stretch at all.
yep, I agree.
You would
But
normally have to stretch with, say, like your Beth Phoenixes, your Nikki Bellas, your whoever.
yes,
Charlotte is 100% in the same contention as Fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, etc., etc., etc.
yep, agreed. Um, but yeah, and so she tells Rick to just go home. Rick
And
has,
yeah, quickly, I want to say I'm glad WWE retconned the baby thing.
yes, thank God, thank
So
God.
they basically just quickly in passing mentioned that it's not Rick's kid.
Yeah, Rick makes a comment of like, I never said it was mine.
Yeah, which
Like,
is fine, but you kind of did.
yes,
You kind
yes.
of did. Like,
But Rick mentions he saw potential in Lacey and stuff like that, and uh,
yeah,
like
it's great.
it was good. And then we get this the next match I honestly expected to go on Twitter and the hashtag give women a chance to start trending, because I was like, this was pathetic. This is exactly what we've been trying to work away from for years now. This is why it's no longer the Divas division, and we honestly we got Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose versus Naomi and Lana, and
In a two-move match.
the match is about 45 seconds to a minute.
I call it a two-move match because Lana and Naomi go for a double team, but Brooke and Mandy hit the double team. Then Lana fights, gets the tag, they hit a double team win.
Yeah. So I think it was Naomi pins Mandy Rose, yeah.
Yep.
Um and then
Lashley gets
another
ready backstage.
yep. And then another match that lasted nowhere's close to long enough. We have AJ Styles along with Omos obviously against Ricochet. The match is only about 3 minutes and Styles pins Ricochet with the Styles Clash. Now
Like,
granted, afterwards there is something that happens, but I'm like, really? We only gave 3 minutes to these guys? Didn't these guys just get like 15
well,
minutes a few weeks ago and
we
kill it?
only got we only got 2 matches in the first 2 hours. We had to fill the last hour with 4.
My God.
Sorry, the last half hour with 3 matches.
Yeah,
Because,
but
but between that tag match we just had and this singles match and the moments after and then the next singles match, that was all under a half hour.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But Omos gets in the ring and AJ yells at him to finish him, and Omos just lifts Ricochet like 12 feet in the air and just drop, like doesn't even like slam. He just kind of lets him go.
No. No. He's just dropped. Like, if you could have put him through the ring, he would have.
Yeah. Yeah, if we
And
didn't have another match still to go, that probably could have been that spot.
I just feel bad for Ricochet because Prince Puma, Ricochet on the indie scene, a god.
Ricochet in NXT was
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Like, but now getting pinned in 2 minutes,
Sure,
he
AJ Styles, one of the greatest ever, lace up a pair of boots. I'm not going to argue that, but there's no reason that match had to be 2 minutes. There's no
Matanza
reason we
Cueto,
needed it again.
Matanza Cueto, aka Jeff Cobb, for those who don't know, had a great match against Ricochet in Lucha Underground. That was like probably about a half hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I don't know. We get Miz and Morrison talking backstage about the possibility of next week. Strowman walks up and they just kind of take off.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And we get obviously the main event: Bobby Lashley with MVP against Braun Strowman. Miz and Morrison are out on commentary, or Miz is on commentary, but they're both out there. And like the match is nothing of note. Sadly, Lashley
Because
pins
again,
Strowman.
this could have been something, but it wasn't.
No, Lashley pins Strowman after a spear. Post match, it was nice because it did make Lashley look nice and strong,
For
locking
sure.
Strowman. While doing the chop block, locking Strowman in the hurt lock, And then Miz tries to hit Lashley with the title. Lashley avoids, slams him, and then spears the Miz. And the show closes with Lashley standing tall in the corner with belt in hand.
Yeah, which is probably going to be the sight we see next week, assuming Miz doesn't find a way to weasel out of that match.
Hey, man.
Oh, you know
I
what?
said it on...
Miz has broken ribs, so he's not fighting next week.
No. I said it last week. Or not last week. I said it on the last podcast yesterday. I'll say it again. Lashley wins next week, and I have no problem with it.
I mean, I'm fine with that, but I wouldn't mind seeing Miz with a longer reign.
But as I said, the fact that we're building up to Mania, we know we're building towards Lashley Drew taking back the title, and then we'll reinsert the Miz.
Yeah, we'll find a way to get Miz back into it.
Because the thing
like
is,
we both said,
we're getting Miz Morrison versus Damian Priest, Bad Bunny at Mania. Like, that's already basically
the WWE title can be in that, can it? It'll be WWE title versus 24/7 title.
Well, they're both world titles.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving on to our ratings of the show.
Oh my god, I can still remember Mick Foley being so excited about this dark hour of Raw that was going to exist because of this 24/7 title.
Oh, what a
and
fucking
it became
joke.
A comedy joke in a day.
Joke. Well, I mean, the second they showed off the belt, it was a joke.
Like, yeah, he comes out and Raw turns black and white and everything is NWO, basically. Like, we are badass, blah, blah, blah. R-Truth, your champion.
Pretty well.
I guess, actually, sorry, the first champion is EC3, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I remember
just to kind of
signed with WWE. Yeah, remember when they totally fucking didn't use him? Yeah. What did you rate Raw out of 5?
2.
Gave it a 2.
I was gonna give it a 1, but I felt mean doing that.
I gave it a 2.25. So
I felt mean giving it a 1, kicking it while it was down, basically.
Yeah, the thing is, I couldn't give it under a 2 because it was still slightly better than SmackDown.
Oh yeah, no, that's very fair. And yeah, I had like 1.75 written, and I was like, that's...
Yeah, I gave SmackDown, I think, a 1.75 last week, and I was like, I can't do that to this Raw. This Raw wasn't good, but it wasn't SmackDown.
In 3 hours, it could have been fucking better.
Oh yeah, I agree. But yeah, I gave it a 2.25, and our Twitter polls, for Raw last night, 37.5% of voters thought it was a great show. 37.5% of voters are sitting on the fence, and 25% of voters thought it was an absolute waste of time, which yeah,
I would probably fall in that waste of time. It was 3 hours where if we just didn't have Raw last night and we picked up next week, I probably wouldn't have missed a thing.
Exactly. Yep.
Like, because we know how WWE books, we're going to open Raw with an entire recap of what just happened this week.
Yepper. But,
and so by then you'll know the gist because it'll take less time than even us writing down what we needed to talk about for this show did. Like, to recap this show is ridiculous because they did not book it. They pointed at an intern and said, make some matches.
Yep, they did.
And then put it on the show. Like,
I don't know. I'm excited that tonight and tomorrow night are going to be hopefully some decent pro wrestling shows. I mean, Impact can be a toss-up of sports entertainment and pro wrestling.
But their second week after a pay-per-view has been the better show of their pay-per-view shows.
Yes, I agree. So it should be interesting. And then, I mean, we got Dynamite and NXT, which will both be good shows. And
for those who didn't hear, we said NXT.
Oh, yeah, because NXT has been killing it. I've enjoyed NXT thoroughly. I'm pretty sure I've given NXT some higher ratings than Dynamite. Not a lot, but I want to say there's at least been a few. Maybe not. Yeah, I have rated NXT higher.
Oh, I've definitely done it too. I think for the first few weeks, NXT was higher than Dynamite.
For you, Uh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week your NXT was rated 0.25% better.
Yeah, and I think that, like, I remember us, kinda not arguing, but kind of just explaining that it was more just because I enjoyed some of the matches slightly
Yeah.
better.
Which,
Like
I mean, you're allowed to. You're a pro wrestling
exactly.
fan, you're allowed to enjoy stuff. Welcome to the world
Yeah,
of pro wrestling. Just because somebody likes something doesn't mean you have to have an issue with it. I mean,
I mean,
my worst of the night for NXT was partially your best of the night. We debated it, we talked it. That's the best part about this podcast.
and we were able to actually talk, and I could see why it was the worst of the night, and you could see why it was my best of the
Yes.
night. Like, it was just the way it is.
Yeah,
Like
I'm a pro wrestling fan. Even though I say something's not good, I can still pick out 90% of the time a reason why it was good, unless we're talking a lot of this Raw. So,
and this is the first Raw that's been bad since we've started this
yes,
podcast,
I
all
agree.
honest.
I
Like, we've had
agree.
poor Raws, but this has been the first start to finish bad Raw.
Yep. So, but we'll move on here and we'll highlight some of the good and the bad here. Match
Yeah,
of the night. What did you give match of the
Riddle
night?
and John
Same,
Morrison.
cuz it was the only match start to finish that I was like that was good.
And it was
Like,
the only match I cared about.
yep.
Like, because one, there was a bit of a botch. The ref thought the title was on the line, went to go put it up, and then didn't. But if Morrison won, which could have been a very realistic thing, then at Fastlane we were getting Morrison versus Riddle for the US title.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, because we know Riddle can lose. That's not an unrealistic thing. Even as a champion, he can lose. So to see him lose there wouldn't have been a bad thing because that would have built a pretty decent story and a first nice challenger for Riddle. I'm
The
excited to
the
see who a first
only
challenger is.
the only reason for this show that I don't think he lost is it
Yeah,
was right after the pay-per-view and he just
absolutely.
pinned Morrison. But I agree with your statement beyond that 100%. There's
Yeah,
no reason he can't
no,
lose. There's no reason he couldn't have lost to Morrison. Good
yeah,
story, two great guys.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, obviously, because he's the new champion, they're not going to have him lose. But
Yeah.
there's
Oh
no
yeah.
reason to say he couldn't have. So that's why going into this match, you're looking at it like, I actually don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Um segment of the night, what'd you give?
Charlotte and Rick talking.
Nice, yeah. Um
Because it was exactly what we needed, and it retconned, like I said, the Lacey thing, made it so that we understood exactly what Rick's goals were because he was very vague for a while, and we understood exactly why Charlotte was annoyed, and that she's not pissed off that her dad is her dad. She's pissed off that her dad still thinks he can go the way he could,
yeah,
and she just needs him to realize that, hey, you're not that anymore. You're this now.
exactly.
Like
Um
it was just really good.
I split mine up a bit here because with there
For
not
sure.
being a lot of good out of this show, I wanted to highlight what I thought was good. One of them is Charlotte and Rick. It was really good. Um I'm giving segment of the night to the Orton promo. Uh
See, I just didn't there wasn't enough to it for me to do
the
that.
the only reason I'm giving it to it is because it makes me more and more and more intrigued. Because now I'm like,
Yeah,
what the fuck is going on? I would have liked way more from it, but it was such a big thing in a sense that happened that you're like, what the fuck?
yeah, and that's very fair. It's just I think there was a little bit too vague about it. They could have explained it a little bit further,
Yeah.
but
Well,
we'll get more to
that's why it's not my only one here, and I've got one
yeah,
more,
sure.
and it's purely because I think it's the way to go, and we've mentioned it a lot. Um, Lashley standing tall at the end of the show, holding the belt.
Yeah.
Um,
As much as I wouldn't
because
mind Mrs. Reign to be longer, yeah, it does make sense.
yeah, and I pair up the Lashley at the end along with the beginning of the show with Lashley giving Miz that hour ultimatum. It made it feel really good. Um,
In comparison to what, say, Roman Reigns is trying to do, because Lashley and Roman are very much the same character if we wanted to
they're
put them down to
very
brass
very
tacks.
close. Yes.
Yeah. If we wanted to put it down to brass tacks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You strip away all that outside, hurt business, tribal chief, blah blah blah, and at the
yeah,
very, very core of
yeah.
of it, it is
Uh,
very
an
much so.
intense big dude who is just intent on beating you down.
Yep.
Like that is basically if you wanted to put them into a box, that's what they are.
But I find Lashley's doing it right.
Oh, that was what I was gonna say. Sorry, yeah, that was my finish to that. Yeah, this is comparison. Lashley, Roman.
And
I
here's a fun
cared
point.
what Lashley said. I didn't give a fuck what Roman said.
So here's a fun point before we move on here and start to wrap up the show.
Yeah,
I have not always been a fan of Lashley.
me either.
Uh, 07, 08, 09, he was there. I didn't really care. I
I really didn't
enjoyed.
like him being shoehorned into the Battle of the Billionaires stuff, especially with Umaga.
Agreed.
Like that whole thing could have been done way differently.
Agreed. His Impact stuff was okay. I did enjoy some of it, but I wasn't
His
heavily.
title reigns were odd.
Yeah, I was never really into Impact at the time, and when he came back to WWE, I couldn't give two shits. And I
I
am
was
now
excited.
sitting. Oh, I was like, oh, cool, Lashley's back.
Yeah,
Okay, on to the
but
next.
that's
Now on
about it. Like,
on to
yeah,
the next
I
cool thing.
was like, oh, I wonder what he'll do. But then we had the next segment. Like,
Yeah. But now I am sitting here and I'm saying if Lashley pins Miz next week on Raw, I will
no, it
be
wouldn't be a pin. It'll be the Hurt Lock.
whatever it is. If Lashley wins the title next week, I'm excited. And I
Oh, I'm
think it's
excited.
got a lot to do with the Hurt business and all of it.
Question: is he a two-time champion? If he does,
No.
but
No.
Morrison is.
No, he won't be because.
WWE really needs to clear. Like, they need to come out and state what titles mean what.
24/7 title's a world title. Performer of the night.
God, I swear to fucking God.
Performer of the night. Who'd you give?
Riddle.
Riddle?
Riddle. He had a great showing against Morrison, who is a legend. We could confidently say he'll likely have a Hall of Fame career by the end of his career. And just absolutely masterclass. Like he every move he hit, I couldn't pick out a significant botch in the match. Like they flowed really well
Yeah.
together.
So
And yeah, it just Riddle to me stood out in that match.
I split up mine, and my one is it's kind of got an asterisk beside it.
Sure.
And I'll give my reasoning. But my first one is Lashley.
Okay.
Because and we just talked about it, that comparison between him and Reigns, but the fact that I gave a shit. I actually gave a shit about what Lashley
Yes.
said in that opening segment. I gave a shit about Lashley in that middle segment when I didn't give a shit about the rest of the segment. And I gave a shit about Lashley at the end. He beat Braun clean. He took Braun out and he stood tall with that world title. And him standing there with that world title belt, I like the look of it. Now, my asterisk one, okay.
Mhm.
And obviously, it's due to the writing. It wasn't him specifically.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Drew McIntyre purely because he wasn't on the show.
I was gonna say you watched the show, right?
Purely because he wasn't on the show. Because if you would have put him on the show, there was nowhere to fit him properly unless you shoved him right back into the world title picture, which is the case. I wouldn't have given two shits about him going through that match last night. Or not, well, in the sense of Raw last night, the Sunday, the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have done anything but diminish his value. So the fact that they left him off the show, they're letting a new story be built. They're making it seem like he's selling his injuries because he should be injured. After something like that, we talk about it on
Yeah.
every episode. The point of pro wrestling is to make it look real. He should be injured. And leaving him off the show means when they bring him back to challenge Lashley for the title at Mania, it's going to feel good. I'll be
Watch
honest.
the complete
I don't
180.
I don't want to see McIntyre on TV for a few weeks.
He'll be on next week.
And that's where I'm
Yep.
going to take the performer of the night away. But like I said, the reason it's asterisks here. Lashley is my performer of the night, and I don't want to take away from others like Riddle and that actually did do good. But I'm giving it here because, like I said, if he would have been there, it would have just ruined so many things. Like there's a bullet point list of things. If he would have been on that show, it would have ruined. And
That's fair.
with leaving him off, they did right.
That is fair. I don't know. It's hard to say when he'll come back. I think it'll be next.
I hope it's not. Like I'm not saying I want to be the week before Mania, but
I can't be the week before. If anything, it has to be at Fastlane if they're gonna hold him off.
okay, yeah. Sure.
Like, because the thing is, we need to almost forget that Drew was the champion before Miz. And so we need to give Lashley a challenger at Fastlane. Say, um,
I've actually got my prediction for this if we can hold off until our prediction segment in just a sec.
sure,
I've
yeah,
got a
no problem.
prediction for that that I just
Yeah,
thought of.
sure.
And then I mean you can if you want to finish off right now you can, but
Oh, I have no real discernible idea of who could
okay.
challenge Lashley at Fastlane.
Okay, I'm actually I I'm pretty good in thinking what could happen. So,
Okay.
um
Did we do our Twitter polls? Yeah.
yep, we covered our Twitter polls and then finally our worst of the night.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I I I thought the WWE title stuff was a bit messy.
Really?
Just a little bit. Like
There was a bit of a mess there, without a
like
doubt.
it didn't like I didn't think we needed the whole kerfuffle of Braun Strowman
Nope.
coming in and having Shane and Adam kind of dictating everything. I think this match or this whole thing could have been done in the first segment. Sure, the hour thing was nice. It gave a bit of intimidation to Lashley and whatever, but I feel it could have been done in the first segment entirely.
With what they did in the second segment after the hour, it ruined it. If that wouldn't have happened and we would have just had the Miz being like just give me a week and somehow making that work, it would have been fine. But the second they brought Shane and Braun and all that into it, it sucked. They should
It
have
just
gotten
felt,
rid
yeah.
of the hour and done it in the beginning. I agree.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said it right there. If they didn't have Shane and Braun and it was just Miz and Lashley and Hurt Business, even if you wanted to say
Even having
intim
Pierce there being like,
yeah,
so
because he's
what's
been
the
a
answer?
figure. Um, it would have made it a little cleaner, and I probably would have ended up just giving this to the like I hate to say it, but one of the women's
Yep.
because that's been my worst match of the night, probably for the last 3 matches.
So my worst of the night is honestly most of the matches
Yeah,
because
that's fair. That's very fair.
there was 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Like I mean, like I said, the one women's tag match was like 45 seconds. There was matches that I wanted to give a shit about. Hardy and Sheamus, Styles and Ricochet. Hell, I even though it was messy because of what they're building Lashley up for, I wanted to give a shit about Lashley and Strowman, and I couldn't.
I did too. But that's what I mean. Like, if say Strowman already had a reason, like his reasoning was he wasn't in the elimination chamber. That's not a reason to
No,
be
that
mad.
there's no reason that sets you up for contention. I wasn't put in this match. I deserve a title. No,
Like,
no, that's
I
not
get
how
it.
that
He's
works.
like, I'm a former Universal Champion. You held it for a month or so.
Yeah, he didn't hold it for too long, from what I'm thinking. It was more than a month. I want to say it was from Mania to it was like
Just
two and a
before
half
SummerSlam,
months.
I'd say.
Yeah, because the Fiend took it, and then Roman was back at SummerSlam and took the title the next pay per view.
Yeah. So
So
just before SummerSlam. Sorry. Oh yeah.
no,
So
it was
fuck,
about
it was
three
the
four
Hell in a
months.
Cell. It was the Hell in a Cell. No, because they did Hell in a Cell right before SummerSlam. or
No, they
something. They
did.
did they did one pay-per-view right before SummerSlam, the week before SummerSlam, and that was because they had Reigns come in, spear the winner of that
Yeah.
match, and the next week he beat him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it
Yeah,
wasn't Hell in a Cell because we got it
it was
was
a pay-per-view
Reigns
of some kind.
versus
TLC
Payback.
Payback.
So Payback was August 30th, and SummerSlam was August 23rd. Oh my god, that is awful.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, no, they had SummerSlam be the pre-show to Payback.
That's bad. Okay.
Yeah, so that was Strowman's championship.
So he held it from Mania to Payback. So 4 months, 4.5 months.
Is that? I mean, I think Jinder held it for 4 months too. Oh no, Jinder held it for like half a
I
year,
was gonna say Jinder
almost.
held it for quite a while, but
So wait,
anyways,
so are we gonna? If Jinder comes back, does he immediately get put in any world title match?
yes,
Fuck off.
24/7 title.
That's fine. Yes,
Because
that
it's a
is
world
fine.
title.
Sure, if Jinder wants to think of it like that, Jinder can think of it like that.
That is my new thing, and I will say it a million times an episode. The 24/7 title is a world title. I've got no other reasoning to argue it. It just is.
Don't mention it on fucking AEW stuff then. Or if the 24/7 title isn't featured, don't talk about it.
I will.
Which, hang on, isn't the 24/7 title supposed to mean the person can go from brand to brand?
Yep.
Okay.
So, predictions. Now I want to get this one while it's fresh in my mind, and then we'll finish up here on the upcoming shows. So, just for the build sense of it, taking away what I want, what I honestly think myself would work good, just at a base level. Obviously, all the other storytelling gets done in between and whatnot. We get Lashley and Miz next week.
Yeah.
Lashley takes the title.
Okay.
Miz for the next week or so, however long till Fastlane, I got screwed, I got robbed. Whether it's
The
a clean
Zayn
finish
gimmick.
or not, I don't know. I don't care. Lashley will
Yeah.
take the belt. I think we get Lashley and Miz at Fastlane, and
But WWE will back themselves in the corner with the no immediate rematch clause.
they already have. It's already there. They've already been doing it.
No, but I hate it.
I do too, but here's like I said, the
Sorry to cut you off.
storytelling has to be done. Whether it's he uses a rematch clause or something happens, I don't know. We
I
get
mean, yeah, the
that,
authority wasn't supposed to be a thing anymore, and that's still a thing.
but I think what happens is we don't see McIntyre until Fastlane. This match is
Yeah.
going on. Ref distraction, ref gets hit, something happens.
Yes.
McIntyre comes in,
With a ref gear.
takes out Miz. Okay?
Because he wants the better challenger?
Lashley's the one who screwed him. So he takes out the Miz because he wants Lashley at Mania for his title. And then that gives Miz the in right after Mania against McIntyre.
Oh, I think they'd hold off Miz's rematch to SummerSlam.
But it gives Miz an in, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
I
there's
thought you
no
were...
reason when McIntyre picks up the title again, there's no reason to fit Miz back in. So this way, Drew screws the Miz at Fastlane. We get McIntyre and Lashley. We get that tag match. We know that's happening with Damian Priest, Bad Bunny, Miz, and Morrison. But we get Lashley and McIntyre. McIntyre finally gets his win in front of the fans. And I think we continue McIntyre and Lashley. I don't even know where till. And then we insert the Miz back in at some point for around SummerSlam.
Okay, when does Priest turn on Bad Bunny for the 24/7 championship?
WrestleMania. They win and Priest turns heel on Bad Bunny and takes the title.
To take the 24/7 championship.
Yes. Because it's a world title. Everybody wants it.
That will be Damian Priest's defining WrestleMania moment.
Yep. But I honestly think that the Miz, Lashley, McIntyre stuff would work. If it goes that way, I'm intrigued by it. Even though I already predict it.
Do I think WWE is gonna do it?
No,
Oh.
because it would work. But anyways,
Hey, but they used to book things that would work. I
they
mean, look
used
at what
to.
they did with Edge and Cena at the Elimination Chamber and Armageddon.
Anyways,
Are
so
you saying that didn't work, or are you just kind of trying to not remember the good?
I'm trying not to remember the good days because it hurts.
Okay. Okay. I
It
was just making
hurts
sure.
thinking about the current day and the good old
Yeah.
days.
'Cause you
Um,
looked although,
but
yeah, I will admit the cash-in was fantastic for them. As I think that
it
worked
was
well.
good. It was good. I just hate that we talked about it on yesterday's podcast. It sucks that it was the exact same thing that we got earlier in the night. Just with their own little pieces, the Miz's worked better, but it sucks that both Elimination Chambers, the post matches were the
Yeah.
same. Like,
And
once again, you strip away everything talking about like Lashley and Reigns. You strip away
yeah.
everything. It was the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. But the one thing I also had an issue with was Tom Phillips saying somehow because McIntyre didn't, come out champion at the end of the pay-per-view, he didn't retain inside Elimination Chamber. He goes, "Yeah, and he retained inside the Elimination Chamber, but only for a moment." I'm like, "Well, no, he retained inside the
The
Elimination
the, the
Chamber,
record books are always going to show he
like,
won the chamber match and retained his title.
yeah, but then had to have another match afterwards."
That has
The
nothing to do
cash-in.
with the elimination chamber.
Yeah, but he was just like, "But that he did win it, but then he actually ended up losing it." And I'm like, "But that wasn't inside the chamber. You're not saying Miz won the chamber, are you?"
Oh god.
Like,
Anyways, predictions for the next few shows. Obviously, Impact will be setting up for Sacrifice, which we know we're gonna get Swan Moose double titles. Um,
so we're probably gonna have Swan and Moose coming face to face,
yeah,
probably 2 times, opening
more than
and
likely.
closing the show.
Yep.
But
Um,
no offense to WWE here, that will probably work better than the ones we've had in past.
yeah.
Like,
Diener and Jake tables match. I
is
think
that tonight?
yeah, I think that starts to swerve Jake towards Violent by Design.
Definitely with Jake losing here, I think. But maybe in the similar vein that like Big Show lost to Cody,
Yep.
in that the going through the table is kind of inadvertent.
Yep. Agreed.
So
Um, NXT. Obviously we've got build up to next week's show for the tag titles and that. So
I
probably
think
quick
that's just all we're
showing.
gonna do.
Yeah. Um,
Well,
and
we'll
Adam Cole
also
finally
get
speaks. Adam Cole is finally going to talk about his turn on uh O'Reilly and Balor.
Zaya Lee, right?
Yeah,
With
and
Boa.
Casey.
That's happening. And I think that's probably going to slowly start turning Casey and Caden into Zaya's group.
Yeah.
Because I think
Um,
that group is gonna become like almost a women's faction.
sure.
Because because Tian Shaw
Tian
or
Shaw.
what
Mei
is
Ying.
the Mei Ying um is a woman as well. So I mean, like, it makes sense that eventually they're gonna kick Boa out of the group, I think.
Even if you keep Boa there as kind of that
Like
uh
bodyguard almost.
bodyguard, yeah. It
Yeah.
works even if the rest of the group is women, just having him there as like
But it was
yeah,
just the fact
just a
that when
figure of
Tian
some
started
sort.
to strangle Boa, I was like, I feel like they're kind of slowly kicking Boa out of this group.
Oh, potentially. I
But
mean,
who
I think
knows?
that's one of those stories that we're going to be seeing for the next 6 to 8 months
Oh,
grow into whatever the big finale of it is.
absolutely, but the slowness of it is going to probably be the first 2 members of this new group are Casey and Caden,
Yeah.
and if I'm wrong, fine, I just don't wanna see Casey get absolutely demolished. I would like
For
to
for
see
for
her.
no benefit.
Yeah, I would like to see her put up a fight if she isn't going to join the group,
Yeah.
um, because that way at least she's looked really strong in her matches that she's had. So it would be unfair to her to immediately just
Yep,
bury her in this match.
I agree.
So,
Um,
and that's not me trying to be biased.
Dynamite, obviously, we're getting more towards Revolution. We're right around the corner. Uh, do we get something from Sting tomorrow night?
No, Sting will be home. That he won't be on the show at all tonight. I think
Okay.
he'll be they'll say like Darby maybe, but they will say Sting is at home resting his ribs or whatever from
I
the.
bet you we don't see Sting or Darby until Revolution.
You know what? Actually, maybe this will be the first week we don't even see Team Taz. We get nothing on that at all.
No, I think we see Team Taz. I think they gloat for the next 2 weeks that they've taken them out. That there's no guarantee either of them are going to be ready for the street fight. That way, at Revolution, Team Taz is waiting in the street, in the parking lot, wherever they're doing it. Because I still don't think we're getting it in the ring, personally.
No, it
Um,
won't be. It'll be the exact same as the backstage brawl, I think.
yeah. So, but I think they're waiting, and they're like, where are they? And I honestly think we get Sting descending, and we get Darby coming in on a skateboard, and they're ready to go.
Oh, actually, I don't know if I should talk about this because I read spoilers because Dynamite was pre-taped this week.
Was
I
it?
read I read potential spoilers. Actually, thinking about what you just said.
Well, okay, so really quickly here, because we'll wrap up the show here in the next few. Obviously, so before we get into that, any last minute predictions, we'll throw a spoiler alert out there, and then we'll close out the show so that way nobody's missing anything post spoiler alert. Any
Um,
final predictions?
we're probably gonna get some more build on the Kenny and Good Brothers Young Bucks stuff.
I hope we keep going with that, even building towards Omega and Moxley. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
no, because I don't think there's any need for Omega to not be involved in what's going on with Good Brothers while he's going on against
yeah.
Moxley. Because in his eyes, he's already beaten Moxley.
And the only final thing that I say we absolutely need before Revolution, we need direct Bucks and Jericho MJF. We don't need the Bucks and Inner Circle. I want to give a shit about Jericho and MJF challenging for the belts, not the Inner Circle as a whole against the Bucks.
Yeah,
Because that's all we've gotten. So that's
so
just
far,
that note.
yeah.
So do you have anything else to add there?
Um, just the potential
Okay.
spoilers, though.
So
Yeah,
for anybody that does not want to hear potential spoilers for AEW's Dynamite tomorrow night, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I would recommend you tune out now. And we will be back obviously Thursday at 11 a.m. as of this point for the 3 show review. But follow our Twitter to make sure to stay up to date. But yeah, thanks for watching. And so there's your spoiler alert. We're gonna get
yeah,
into this and wrap up the show. You will not be missing anything else.
yeah.
So
So,
potential Dynamite spoilers. What do you got? I haven't heard
so,
anything.
so what I read was, and it's directly pertaining to Sting, and this is the only one I can vividly remember, is Sting comes down on a zip line tonight
Oh fuck, are
or
you
Wednesday.
kidding?
Yeah, like that is something I read. He comes down on a zip line. I can't remember where I read it. I can't remember who it was posted by, but yeah, this week's it was taped on Thursday.
Okay.
I and
Huh.
when you said Sting coming down, I was like, "Oh, crap, that already happened or is going to happen."
Fuck
I'm
no,
assuming you're
man.
looking up reports of it being pre-taped.
Oh man. Yeah, Sting on a zip line from the raft. Fuck sakes.
Yeah,
But
just
isn't that funny how I say that, having no idea there was spoilers?
yeah, and when you said that, it reminded me immediately of what I'd read. Like,
Yeah, Sting,
now whether that was taped for this Dynamite or for a clip to be used later, who knows? Because that could be a thing they did too. They might not be able to use Sting in the next couple weeks, so they needed to do something pre-recorded for him.
Yeah,
and they're
and
going to use that in a week or two.
an ode to
But
WCW. Okay. So he descends on Team Taz and they set up and then we don't get anything next week maybe.
maybe.
And from the sounds of it, they keep touting that this match is a return to the ring for Sting.
Well, there's probably going to be moments in the ring. Maybe.
So
Well,
what segment do we get between like what segment do we get as they're setting up for the barbed wire death match? Cuz that
maybe the
show's going to be
maybe the match starts in the ring and then it goes to the back.
it is this match maybe not in Daly's not the street fight, the exploding barbed wire death match. Is it potentially in the stadium? I think safety wise it'd be smarter.
Yeah, because the stadium's not covered. So explosions wise, there's less likelihood of
No
like
fans, no need to get the
smoke hanging
wrestlers
around.
out of there, any of that. I think it'd be smart to put that.
It'd
And
be
then
it'd
that way
be
they can set up stuff. Like we don't need a stadium stampede, that's not what I'm saying, but I think
but set up a stage for them,
yeah.
a ring in the middle, and then basically a parking lot
Yeah,
in all of the infield of the
yeah. Like
football
close it
field.
off cuz we're not looking for another stadium stampede, but
Well, I mean, I'm
but
kind of
give
am
them
looking for one, but
yeah, but yeah. But anyways, we said we wouldn't get into much more there, so we won't. Do you have anything else to add, or are we signing off here, my guy?
I think that's all we have for today. Yeah, we just we'll be back on Thursday. Make sure when we do or we do our news segments at the start of every show. So just make sure to give us a tweet about any news segments you might see. It kind of helps us out with making these segments a bit better. Our news is really kind of weak lately. Like we have to kind of dig into them to make our stories kind of feel a bit
Yeah,
better.
ramble off a little on him if we just
Yeah,
just just to make it something more than hey, three
yeah,
newses.
exactly. So like any kind of things you guys see for news wise, it really does help us to make the whole show as a whole interesting for you
Yes.
guys.
Yeah, so with that being said, thank you everybody for listening in on this episode. Follow our Twitter to stay up to date, vote in the polls, all that fun stuff. And if you want everything Walking the Ropes, you can find it through our link tree. That's the links to every podcast platform we're available on. If we're not available on your preferred podcast platform, please tweet us, let us know, and we will do our best to get on there. Um, but yeah, so platforms, social medias, YouTube VODs, and ways to support us. Tipping, Redbubble. Like we said at the top of the show, new design on our Redbubble, and actually a few more potentially within the next few days to come,
Yeah.
design wise. So give that a look if you want to support us at all. If you are able to, by all means, it's greatly appreciated if you can. If you can't, no worries.
And give us feedback on our logo. We love it and we'd love to hear what you guys think of it.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, with that being said, we'll be back Thursday. Should be 11 o'clock. But as always, stay tuned to our Twitter just in case the time frame changes for any reason. But yeah, with that being said, thank you for tuning into this edition of Walking the Ropes, and we will see you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll
Take
see you
care.
then.